And right on cue, Prince Harry is once again back in the headlines. He believes this time in a more favourable light. But are they? As ever, let me explain. Morning, lovely to see you, chums. Thank you so much as ever for your time today, and welcome one and all brand new subscribers. I found another one. Yes, I know you all enjoyed the carousel when we were in York. When I was in York. It's very royal that, isn't it, though? Don't worry, yes, it's English, you know. But the thing is, when I was in York the other day, it was just lovely to find that this one is in Hyde Park. Many of you will have seen it. Again, a very old carousel, but just lovely to see them working. And, you know, it's magical, isn't it? Watching kids go up to it and see them looking at the lights and the horses going up and down. They're just transfixed. And you think, yeah, we were all a bit like that once, weren't we, you know? It's nice to see it, though. I'm glad that you enjoyed it. And as ever, thank you for your company. We'll have a lovely wave. Nice to have your time, as it were. Now, here's where this gets interesting. You may have just seen this particular headline. This, of course, is Prince Harry, once again, back in the headlines with the age-old chestnut story of, well, you know, the King and Harry set to meet as he arrives back for the World Child Awards. Now, as I told you before, the World Child Awards are a mystery to me, right? An absolute mystery, as Toyah famously sang way back in the early 80s, because, you know, Harry will come halfway around the world for this one particular charity. But each charity apparently is very close to his heart, and, you know, he couldn't survive without it. It's his life's work. A little bit like Centre Barley until that all imploded, and then we suddenly found out, well, it wasn't necessarily his life's work. And then we also found out, did we not, that, well, according to sources, Harry and Meghan actually only devoted 1 hour a week to charity. So what is it, or which is it? Now, here's where this gets really interesting, because as many people run with this story, and this is a problem with the mainstream media, you know, they've got airtime to fill, so they just keep going with it because, you know, they bring somebody in and the person says, well, it's difficult. You know, let's be blunt. Nobody in the senior royals trusts Meghan. And certainly nobody trusts Prince Harry. We saw that when he dashed off back after the meeting with the late monarch to NBC and said about the right people around her. So what's the real true story behind this? Well, the true story is, as I've just pointed out, Harry's coming back into London, wants to rev up his appearance because it's all about, you know, the narcissism in Harry. Let people know. I mean, why did it need announcing that he was returning to London? Nothing special. He's just attending a charitable event. It's locked out to most of the British media, so why does that really affect anybody? Moving forward, this is where this gets really interesting, because you see, this source where this story came from is an American source, right? So there's no name attached, there's no credibility. And as Harry and Meghan know, you see, the monarch and indeed the Buckingham Palace, Kensington Palace, do not comment on private matters. So if there were going to be a meeting, it certainly wouldn't be announced to the media. It's not an official engagement, it's not an official visit. You see how this works. This really is the fingertips of course, the marketing team, again, I have to say allegedly, of Meghan and Harry. Basically, they're trying to make out that, you know, this is a big event, him arriving back. Now, if Harry really wanted to make some kind of amends with him, and this is the only thing I think would be of valid interest, is the fact that, well, bring one of the children with you, particularly the one where your father has never met them, and neither has virtually any other members of the family. We're talking about Lily, right? The one that you named after the Queen that apparently you cleared, but that was a little bit dark and mysterious too. So the people that are rushing around saying, well, this is happening. Here's the other interesting factor that's gone amiss. The publication that they gave this to, the American source, right? And this is really on the back of that fake secret meeting, if you get the picture there. Well, the interesting bit here is that on that particular publication, they just were, on that day, announcing the fact that they've now got a very royal special WhatsApp group that they want you to join. So that's placed very prominently just at the base of the story. So basically, if you want to get involved in the chat, again, a money-making exercise, literally from a newspaper that virtually is very much anti-royal. You see how this works and how this builds now. Now, my surmise is this, that I would suggest on certain instances that I'm sure His Majesty the King wouldn't mind a brief, if not reconciliation meeting with his youngest son. But it's risky, and it's very risky indeed. And how many more chances does he want to take? And more importantly, when you think about it, as Harry dashed over on that now infamous meeting, once, of course, his father was announced at having cancer, well, he didn't get too long then because he was petulant, diva-ish and demanding. According to sources, nothing's changed. The only thing that's changed is that Harry's standing, if you like, is plummeted even further. And once again, the new team over with Meghan Markle and their marketing group, well, once again, they're attaching the British monarchy in order to shore up her little now watched TV series, The Interview with Bloomberg, and his forthcoming charitable appearance over here in London. But it won't work, will it? And as for His Majesty the King, as I said, if there was a meeting, it could be held very, very privately, with no media knowing. But what's the betting? Somebody will spin it back round to say, it's very sad, Harry tried his best. Either way, it's a developing story. Neil Shawn, Hyde Park, London.